Hi, Tiffanie Kellog here. Thanks for joining us for one of our interview series. As we're stuck at home with social distancing, it's an opportunity for us to learn more so we can earn more. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to Is Real Estate Still a Safe Investment? I am Tiffanie Kellog, and today I am joined by Greg Simpson to talk to us a little bit about real estate. Greg is a native of St. Pete, Florida, and has lived in the Tampa Bay area all his life. He's always had a passion for real estate, and when the Tampa Bay market was hit by the recession in 2008, 2009, he made it his goal to help rebuild the community he lived in and loved. He currently lives in Tampa with his beautiful wife, his young son, and their family consisting of one dog and a cat. Greg is an expert in acquiring properties and specializes in buying houses from distressed homeowners for a fast, fair price. He's also an expert in the management of renovations of those properties by building strong relationships with contractors and subcontractors all throughout the area and putting together systems and processes to ensure a smooth project from start to finish. Greg also owns a local real estate brokerage that assists in selling these properties on the open market for maximum exposure and maximum profits with highly skilled and trained agents. He's purchased, renovated, and sold over 40 houses since 2013 with an average return of more than 15% cash ROI with a gross profit of over $1.6 million. He's also wholesales hundreds of houses in that same period. He's the owner and president of the largest local RIA, Real Estate Investors Association in Tampa Bay. He prides himself on providing his members, students, listeners, mentees, etc., with absolute best information, which allows him to bring in consistent deal flows that meet or exceeds his requirements for his investments. So, Greg, thank you so very much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Tiffany. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so talk to us about, things are so different right now than really they've ever been with this safer at home and social distancing and quarantine thing. And real estate, how is that affecting real estate? What can we expect to see because of that?
So in reality, so far, we haven't seen a whole lot of change in the marketplace. We've seen speculation, but we haven't really seen any data to back up that we're going to see one thing or the other yet. The only thing that really has changed is that we're not obviously hosting any open houses with our brokerage. No brokerage is at this point, I believe. If they are, they're probably going to get in trouble. Even with the opening up, I think it's still probably not going to be a thing. It's still been a lot of business as usual, just little variations, obviously.
Gotcha. And for those of you watching us, we're on Facebook Live and we're here in Zoom. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box here on Zoom. Put them in our Facebook Live comments if you have any of those. So we did have a couple in advance questions. Is this a good time to purchase a home?
Absolutely. It is actually a very good time to buy a home, mainly because the rates are still at historic lows. And they are going to stay there probably for a little while. I don't know exactly when. I know that was another kind of a follow-up question that we got as well. But rates are still extremely low and inventory is still extremely low. So it's also a good time to sell your house. I'll give you an example. Like, we obviously have a few houses on the market. And obviously with the uncertainty of what's happened recently, we had one of our houses sit for a little bit. It sat for what should have sold in days on the market. We finally just went under contract this week, I should say. Over the weekend, we had 4 offers, and we hadn't really had but 1 or 2 come in, and we really didn't like them before. And so, all of a sudden, that it kind of exploded. And so that's been a huge plus. But yeah, it is a very good time to buy right now because rates are still extremely low rates. And the Fed came out this week and had their report, and they said that they're not going to be able to drop rates anytime soon. They're not raising rates as well. So there's kind of the status quo on that.
Can rates go much lower?
They can, but the Fed's rates can go lower because we did that to help get us out of the last Great Recession in 2008, 9, and 10. We did that. We did go negative rates back then, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to trickle down to the mortgage rates. And that's obviously a huge misconception. And I didn't know that either, actually, until recently. When this all happened, of course, I literally called my mortgage brokers and I was like, hey, give me a better rate. And they're like, pump the brakes. That's not exactly how it works. And I was like, oh, darn. But it did drop the rates, but it didn't drop them to next to nothing.
Gotcha.
But it did help for sure. And so we did refinance one of our rental properties out recently and got a much better rate. But the rates aren't going to really go any lower on the mortgage side.
Gotcha. So
I just don't think so anyway.
So now's the time if you have a higher rate to go ahead and take advantage of that.
For sure. Yeah.
It's funny though, like growing up, I remember, you learn about money and mortgage rates were much higher. When you got to be an adult, the mortgage rates have been amazing. Even for my first home 20 years ago. And now it's like so low.
Yeah. They're basically giving you free money at this point.
Is there concern of there being that real estate crash that we had a decade or so ago where the values are going to go down dramatically like they did before?
So I've been asked this question a lot, and I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you one way or the other, but I can give you my prediction.
Okay.
In the short term, we will not see any issues going forward for the next 6 months or so. It's really going to depend on how this virus does affect us going forward. And how I mean that, and I'm not doom and glooming anybody here. I want you to understand this. Like, we don't know enough still to this day. It's only been a couple of months. I would be asking someone back in 2008 in September, October, how long they saw the recession go for. No one has an answer for that.
Right.
So what I see potentially happening though is the next 6 months or so, we have a great rebound in our marketplace, whether it's stock market, real estate, any type of investing out there is going to have a big boom very, very quickly. I think the short-term rentals are going to come back really, really strong very, very quickly as well, because people are going to want to get the heck out of their house. They're going to want to come down to Florida and vacation because they didn't get to do it for spring break or whatever for the last couple of months, which is normally our season. Having said that, though, after that 6 months, we're going to be going back into potential flu season again. And I don't know, I'm not a scientist and I don't know, but if this does rebound a little bit, we could see big, big, big problems in the real estate and stock market again. I don't know though. Maybe it does just go away. I hope it does. I really hope it does for everyone's sake, because we will see a massive amount of foreclosures again if everyone loses their job for good. And we do have to quarantine ourselves for God knows how long for real. God, please don't say that. But you just don't know. That's the thing. Is like, I don't want to be doom and gloom. We just don't know enough data yet to say, hey, yeah, we're going to be good for the rest of our lives. So I want to just be cautious with what people are predicting.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because you hear so many people predicting so many different things, and really, how in the world can you predict? Because we don't know what's going to happen. Will the summer help knock it down, or is it going to go through the summer? And if it keeps on, I mean, there's just so much. And we were talking before we started broadcasting, I don't anticipate being out and speaking in public, not virtually, until 2021, which is a huge deal for me. I mean, I love getting out there and talking with people. I'm planning on spending a lot of time virtually for the rest of this year. Just because, we had MegaCon tickets for a couple of weeks ago, and they pushed it back to June 4th and 5th. But I'm like, there's no way they're going to be hosting MegaCon, which is, so many people crammed in. There's just no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think our next public speaking that we have penciled in for this year is October.
Yeah.
That's the earliest we have decided that we would have somebody. And at this point, it may still be virtual. We just don't know. Like, we just don't know enough data yet to say, it's going to be all gone. And I hope, like I said, I hope it is, but we just don't know yet.
So if people are thinking about getting real estate, they're thinking about purchasing, what are some things that they should take into consideration?
So obviously, I suggest if you're going to be buying a house, no matter what, whether it's now or previous to this, you should have a good cash reserves to weather any storm like something like this. Because if you do get furloughed or lose your job, you aren't going to be worried about paying your bills. And now I know that it's a really difficult thing for a lot of people because it's how we are as Americans anyway. But that's one thing I would definitely suggest is have some reserves of at least 6 months. And that's probably the best thing I could say to do and also make sure you're buying a house that's in really good shape, because the last thing you want to do is buy a house with a suspect roof or a suspect AC unit, and all of a sudden you've got a $5,000 to $15,000 bill you were not expecting. So I would make sure you buy a very solid house.
Gotcha. And so with the reserve, so would you recommend, like, and I know you're not necessarily a mortgage broker, but from this perspective, am I better off to take maybe 6 months worth of money as a down payment, or leave that 6 months in the bank just as a safety?
I
Versus,
leave it in the bank.
yeah.
There's programs where basically you can get mortgages at 0% out of your pocket, just some like 3.5%. And there's also are some down payment assistance programs that I'm not super familiar with, but there are ways to basically get into houses now with like 3.5% down and keep the rest of that money in the bank.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, keep it in the bank. Don't go spend it on a new roof or furniture. That wasn't the
you don't
point
have
of
to,
that.
for sure.
Have it saved. So is
Yeah.
now considered to be a buyer's market, a seller's market? Where is the market at right now?
It's still a seller's market because, again, inventory is low. And it's kind of like a little bit of both because there's a smaller buyer pool, but with everything opening back up here, I think that we are going to be going back into a very heavy seller's market for, again, the next 6 months at least until we know more data about this. We've been doing a weekly market update on our deployed capital group, which is our hard money lending company. Every Thursday. And for the last 3 Thursdays, I pulled the data, and I pulled it for a month prior to that when I recently wrote a blog post about this. Are real estate prices dropping? And the answer is no, it's not. And for the last 3 weeks alone, and it worked the same with the other blog post, is that in the Tampa Bay area, at least, house prices are still selling at 98% of their list price.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We have not seen any change in that. The days on market have jumped a little bit, like it's just taking a little longer to go under contract on those by about 10 days, which is still stupid crazy because most houses, if they're done well, are selling within the first 3 to 5 days.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like most of our flips are selling because we do a really good job on them. They're top notch. One of the last 3 houses, average days on market was about 13. And that was because we had one that took 42 days, I think it was. And the other 2 sold day 1.
Gotcha.
So it's still a great time to sell, to buy, because it is still technically a seller's market, but there is very low inventory. So if you are looking to buy, you should be out there looking to buy right now because the prices aren't really going to drop anytime soon.
Gotcha.
And they may not at all.
Yeah. If we wanted to read that article, the blog that you did, where can we go to get more information on that?
Sure. It's on our Outfast Realty page, www.outfastrealty.com. And we have a blog page there. You can go check it out. I got a couple other articles in there if you're a real estate agent that might scare you.
Oh, why is that?
Because if this does go into a full-on recession, if you are a real estate agent out there and you are not working with an investor like myself or other investors, and you're not with an investor-friendly brokerage, you're probably going to go out of business like most agents did in 2008, 9, and 10. And that's a fact. About over 50% went out of business in the first year of the first recession or the last recession. And over the next 2 years, 50% of that 50% also out of business because they weren't working with investors. And so that's why we built our entire brokerage model, is based on working with investors, capitalizing right now on the retail market because it's been hot for the last several years. And then when the market does go into recessions, depressions, the only people buying at that point are investors. And we teach people agents how to work with investors and asset managers of banks that are buying and hedge funds and stuff like that.
Cool.
So,
well, those are all the questions that I've got so far from our audience. Do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Absolutely. So
real estate.
Yeah, the real topic of this is real estate still a safe investment. And I also have a blog post on that too. That's going to upset some financial advisors because it is what it is. Real estate investing is the most safe investment in the world, in my opinion. And I'll go into why that is real quick. So investing in the stock market, a mutual fund, if companies that you're investing in a stock market have a recession happen like this or potentially like this, and that business goes out of business, you have nothing to show for that but a piece of paper that is now worthless, a stock certificate that is absolutely worthless. Even people that went through the recession, the people that invested in real estate during the recession of 2008, 9, and 10, most of them are now millionaires. I missed the boat. I wasn't in it before then, okay? So the thing is, if the recession happens, that you've invested in a piece of property, no matter what, you still own a tangible asset that you can go touch and feel and look at and say, hey, it's still standing there. The only time that you're going to have an issue with that asset not being around anymore is if we have a hurricane come through in Florida, and that's what you have homeowners insurance for, with wind protection.
Right.
So it's always going to be a safe investment, whether you're in an up market, down market. And the other reason behind that, and this is the thing that struck me, and I didn't learn this until I wasn't even at a real estate seminar. I was actually at an action coach seminar about 4 years ago, and they had a real estate expert just come in. I'm sorry, it was him. It was Brad Sugars.
Oh, okay.
Taught me this at this 4-day event in Las Vegas. That if you go back and look at historical data, and you look at a 20-year period, because any investment is supposed to be for retirement, a 20-plus year investment. It's not supposed to be like what I do for fix and flips. You're supposed to look at buying something and holding onto it for 20 years. Over the course of American history, you can go back almost 200 years and look at the data. Every 20 years, real estate doubles. Doubles.
Wow.
Yes. So by the time the 20 years rolls around, you've almost paid off that entire mortgage because someone else is paying for that mortgage, your tenant. And if you're able to hold on to that for 20 years, you literally not only have almost a free and clear asset paid by somebody else with almost free money right now from the banks, like I said before, and now it's worth twice what you paid for it. You cannot get that anywhere else. That does not exist. And there's that saying, I believe it was Warren Buffett said, that 90% of all millionaires are made through the investment of real estate. You can't say that anywhere else. So I want to keep harping on that message to people that real estate will always be the safest investment, especially during a time that the market is down, because you can buy at a huge discount. Just like, I mean, I bought Royal Caribbean stock, I bought Delta Airline stock or American Airline stock, and I bought Norwegian Cruise Line because I know those are going to rebound. Bought at the high, and I don't think those companies are going to go out of business, but who knows, right? But because that stock certificate could be worth nothing. But I know that with the houses that we're buying, if we have to hold on to them long term, darn.
If you look at it as a long term investment, then yeah, you'll be fine. We will come out of this. Yeah.
I'll give you an example really quick too with the refis. That if you have an investment property, refi it out right now. So we went from a I think it was 4.35 was our rate on one of our properties. We refied it out to 3.625 or something like that. Doesn't seem like a lot. It was $125 a month that we saved. That also doesn't seem like a lot of money because it cost $5,000, $6,000 in closing costs to generate that deal.
Right.
Well, take 125 times 12 months times 20 years, we're going to end up putting an extra $19,000 in our pocket, and we're not the ones paying the mortgage.
Right.
So that's why I'm telling you to refi right now if you have a rate over 4. So cool. Real estate is always going to be the safest investment, and you can't tell me any otherwise because I'm stubborn.
Well, thank you so very much, Greg, for joining us and sharing that with us. If people want to reach out to you with questions or to learn more about TB RIA, to learn about, if they have a house that they're looking to sell, how can people get in touch with you?
The best way to reach out to us is go to our website, outfastrealty.com. We can help you if you're looking to buy or sell or invest, obviously. And obviously, we have the tbria.com, or I should say it's www.tbria.com. If you're looking to learn about investing in real estate, we still have our meetings are all live via Zoom. We're still doing about 5 or 6 of them every single month. So we can help you. I can help you. Our team can help you in any way possible when it comes to real estate.
Well, thank you so very much, Greg, for being with us. For you, those of you on Facebook and Zoom, thanks for joining us. Have an amazing day. And
the same, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Greg. Bye, everybody.